A haunting is a paranormal phenomenon of either the appearance of a spirit or supernatural being, or an action or event that took place at a specific location in the past. In this video, we count down 5 unsolved mysteries involving the paranormal. For over 50 years, the A75 Kinmount Strait in southwest Scotland has been the scene of numerous hauntings. Reports of paranormal activity have been frequent enough that the road has been nicknamed the Ghost Road. It's thought to be Scotland's most haunted road, and has received hundreds of reports of unexplained sightings. In 1957, a truck driver saw a couple walk in front of his truck and he thought he hit them. When the driver stopped to investigate, the couple were nowhere to be seen. In 1997, Miss Maxwell was convinced she'd hit a man in the road while driving along the A75 with her 2 children. Travelling at 50 miles per hour, she saw a man jump in front of her car. He was in his 30s with short hair, wearing a red top and dark trousers. She braked hard, closing her eyes and bracing for impact. When she opened her eyes, the car had stopped, but there was no sign of the man. She contacted the police and the area was searched, but there was no evidence of an accident. A description of the accident issued to the media a week later failed to provide any further explanation of the accident. With a history going back over 900 years, the Tower of London is regarded by many as one of the most haunted places in the UK. It was originally built in 1078 by William the Conqueror, and has served as a major role in the history of England ever since. The tower has been besieged several times. Kings and conquerors believed that in order to control the country, the tower must be controlled first. During the 15th century, the castle was used as a prison. However, the peak period of the castle's use as a prison was in the 16th and 17th centuries. Elizabeth I was one of the many prominent figures who was held captive in the tower. The use of the tower as a place for captives popularised the term "sent to the tower." There have been many reports of the paranormal at the Tower of London over the years. The most famous of all the ghosts that live within its walls is Anne Boleyn, the wife of Henry VIII. Her headless body has been seen walking the tower's corridors and often near the spot of her demise. One of the more famous sightings was back in 1864 by military man General Dundas, who saw Anne Boleyn in the form of a ghostly white figure. She was moving towards the guard, feet not touching the floor in the courtyard where she was kept prisoner before she was killed. The guard, thinking she was not real, charged at her with a weapon in an effort to warn her off. But of course this was to no avail and he ended up charging straight through her ghost. Realising that he'd seen a ghost, the guard fainted. The military court-martial wanted to charge the guard with fainting on duty and abandoning his post, but he was actually saved from this by General Dundas, who testified at his trial. Other full-bodied apparitions have also been seen, including Lady Jane Grey, who was spotted by a guardsman in 1957. In the White's Tower, the White Lady has also been seen, often standing at the window where she once stood waving to her children on the other side of the building. Perhaps the most spine-chilling of all the reports includes the mysterious appearance of 2 children. They have been witnessed throughout the rooms of the castle. They're often seen in their nightgowns holding hands with a look of terror on their faces. Guards of the Tower of London have reported having a terrible crushing sensation upon entering the place where King Henry VIII's impressive suit of armour is exhibited. A guard who was patrolling the grounds have reported a sensation of someone throwing a cloak over him. When he tried to free himself, the cloth was seized from behind and pulled tightly around his throat by an unseen attacker. Shadow people are said to be shadow-like creatures of supernatural origin which appear as dark forms. It's said that humans can't focus on them, and when we try to, they move between walls. Reports of shadow people are similar to ghost sightings, but differ in that shadow people are not reported as having human features, wearing modern clothing or attempting to communicate. Witnesses also do not report the same feelings of being in the presence of something that was once human. Some individuals have described being chased or even attacked by shadow people. There have also been reports of shadow people appearing in front of witnesses or lingering for several seconds before disappearing. Witnesses report that encounters are typically accompanied by a feeling of dread. Most accounts of shadow people describe them as black humanoid silhouettes with no mouths, noses, eyes or any expressions whatsoever. The purported witnesses have also described child-sized humanoids or shapeless masses. Some reports also include glowing red eyes. Generally they're described as lacking mass. though their specific nature varies from a two-dimensional shadow to a distorted three-dimensional form. Their movement is often described as being very quick and disjointed. They may first move slowly as if they were passing through a heavy liquid, and then rapidly move to another part of a witness's surroundings. Amongst the many theories, several suggest possible explanations. Shadow people are a very common visual hallucinations for humans to have. They usually appear as a result of sleep deprivation or sleep paralysis. The subject perceives a patch of shadow in their peripheral vision or focused visual field to be living. This figure can either be humanoid or animal-like in appearance. Due to the cultural influence and the perception that shadow people may in fact be spooky ghosts, people who experience external hallucinations may attribute it to the paranormal or other irrational causes rather than accepting that it's a natural effect of abdominal brain chemistry levels that may stem from a wide variety of mental states. Leap Castle is a very popular Irish castle. It's widely regarded as one of the most haunted castles in the world. Thousands of people flock to Leap Castle each year not only to marvel at its grand history and beauty, but also to meet the inhabitants of the castle who are from a world unlike ours. The castle has a long history. There was a fierce rivalry in the O'Carroll clan, and there was a bitter fight against brothers. One of the brothers was a priest, and while he was holding a mass for some of the family, the other brother burst through the doors and plunged a sword into his brother. The priest passed away and the chapel is now called the Bloody Chapel. During the castle's renovation, workers found a dungeon where people were locked away to die. At the bottom of the shaft were spikes. When the dungeon was cleaned out, there was 3 cartloads of human bones. Numerous people were imprisoned and executed in the castle, and it's said that it's one of the reasons why the castle is haunted. One of the most terrifying beings which resides in the castle has been called It. It is a creature which is small, about the size of a sheep, and has a decaying face. It's believed that when it appears it's accompanied by the smell of sulphur and the smell of a decaying corpse. There's something about lighthouses that make them popular focus points for many ghost stories. The St. Augustine Lighthouse began guiding ships at sea into shore in 1874, and as it stands today is the oldest brick structure in the city. The lightkeeper's house was added to the site in 1876, and was where the lightkeepers and their assistants lived and worked. Today visitors from all over come to view this beautiful beacon, but others come for different reasons. They come to satisfy their curiosity about the paranormal, to discover if the stories they've heard are true and if it's possible that ghosts really do exist. With its long and intriguing past, it's not surprising that the St. Augustine Lighthouse has gained a haunted reputation. Many who visited worked here and others who live close by have reported experiencing something mysterious and just plain eerie. One of the lighthouse's first keepers was a man named Peter. He was known for his meticulous eye and watchful manner of maintaining the lighthouse. He was also known for his love of cigars, and is one of the first ghosts that people report coming in contact with. Over the years, the smell of Peter's cigar has been detected by many, including staff members and guests. Others have seen and heard another keeper named Joshua at the top of the tower, only he passed away more than a century ago. His presence at the lighthouse could be explained by the fact that he fell to his death while painting the outside of the tower. His spirits never left and is often seen looking out from the top. But perhaps the most well-known ghosts of the St. Augustine Lighthouse are those of the 2 young sisters who passed away on the property. Hezekiah was hired to renovate the tower in the late 1800s. Her daughters Elisa and Mary were playing inside a cart that was being used to carry materials back and forth to the lighthouse. When the cart broke loose, they weren't able to jump out in time and the cart slid rapidly into the bay, plummeting both girls to a watery death. Today and most days since then, the girls can be heard laughing at the top of the tower late at night. Others have spotted Elisa floating around the grounds wearing the same blue dress she died in. So that was 5 unsolved mysteries involving the paranormal. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.